Welcome back. Capturing invisible light can lend an otherworldly feel to your images. In this video, I'm going to show you how to shoot impressive infrared photos. So follow along and we'll get going. Back in the days of analogue photography, shooting infrared images was a complex, expensive and largely unsatisfying process. In the digital era, the technique is fairly foolproof with the right kit and a little know-how. In this project, we'll show you how to take stunning and eerie infrared images without having to convert your existing camera. To get started, you'll just need an infrared filter to fit to your lens. Once screwed on, this prevents the visible light from passing through and allows infrared light to reach the camera sensor. Using the filter is simple, but because it blocks out visible light, exposures need to be much longer to compensate for this. The first step to ensuring you get impactful images is to choose a location with plenty of foliage. You don't need a bright sunny day, although shooting in summer means there'll be more greenery and ensures plenty of chlorophyll in the leaves for that trademark infrared glow. Before you set up your composition, mount your Canon on a sturdy tripod to avoid camera shake and motion blur. Once it's stable and you've positioned your camera in its final position, consider what you're including or leaving out of the frame. Contrasting elements can make the composition more dynamic, so include light and dark subjects that are close to each other, such as trees against a bright sky. Leaves and skin tones reflect the most infrared light, so will appear as the whitest parts of your image. Materials such as stone will appear as dark tones once the filter is attached. In terms of camera settings, manual exposure mode is the best way to go here. Set a fairly narrow aperture of around f8, keep the ISO low at 100 and set the white balance to daylight. Set an appropriate shutter speed. To improve your chances of getting the perfect exposure, you might want to activate exposure bracketing with one stop either side of the main exposure. Shoot the images in RAW so you can then edit them with more control later on. Infrared filters are inherently very dark, so you'll have to pre-focus on the scene before you attach the filter. Once it's attached, you won't be able to see through the lens to focus or recompose. Switch the lens to manual focus, switch your DSLR to live view mode, then zoom into the scene on the LCD screen. Twist the focusing ring on the lens until the scene appears sharp. You should now be ready to add the infrared filter to the setup. For this shoot, we used a screw-on Hoya R72 infrared filter. If you have a slide-in filter system from another manufacturer, make sure you slide it into the slot that's closest to the camera to prevent unwanted visible light sneaking in. Fire the shutter using a timer delay, cable release or remote control. This is to avoid introducing motion blur. Take several test shots and check the exposure and focus by reviewing the images. If you move to another spot, you'll need to take off the filter and completely recompose and refocus the photograph. In terms of editing, it's up to you whether you want to convert your shots to black and white or keep a slight colour cast. Infrared shots do look punchy in black and white. For quick results in Adobe Camera Raw, try desaturating the image, then boosting the level of contrast and clarity. Here's a few of our favourite examples of the technique. Invest in a filter and give it a go yourself.